He remains undefeated, and he appears to be knocking on a title shot door. Very excited to talk to him for the first time on this program. He's now joining us via the phone. Brian, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Great to have you on the show, Brian, and congratulations on a phenomenal performance. What has it been like? Your first UFC main event, submitting a guy like Cub Swanson, the biggest name that you've ever faced in the UFC. The last 36 or so hours, what have they been like for you?
Man, at least after that win, I didn't sleep that whole night, you know? So, I don't know why. I was trying to go to sleep. I knew I was tired, but I was just in awe, you know? It was just a lot of things going through my mind, a lot of emotions, a lot of, you know, it was just like, I knew it was going to be a war, and I envisioned myself winning, and you know, it was just, in my eyes, it came out the perfect way. Me and him both came out unscathed, and I got the victory, and then Dana White said I got 2 bonuses, and so it was just a lot of things going on to my head that, you know, it takes a while to process, but I finally slept yesterday, and I woke up today feeling a bit better.
You seem to be very relaxed going into your first main event. I saw you at the open workouts. You were dancing. Your interviews were great and all that. In the locker room beforehand, were you the same kind of relaxed guy, or were you feeling a little more nervous going into your first headlining show?
Man, so like the camera people and the photographers and the camera people keep walking in to check on the fighters, right? And these guys had to keep coming in and checking and coming in and checking, because every time they came in, literally I was just laying down, and I was just like, so I was just laying down, I was just talking. And then literally, like, the whole time, everyone was like, man, when's this guy going to start wrapping up? When's this guy going to start up? And I was like, literally, like, you know, like laying down. And I called it, it was Henry Gracie and myself. And we're looking at the ceiling, but we're just talking about life and all kinds of things. And then the camera people were like, dude, like, what is, I could tell the look is like, dude, come on, do something already for us. And I was like, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Me and this guy having like a deep conversation about life. About, you know, the future and everything, and we're just, I told him, I was like, man, we're just looking at the stars right now and talking. And then finally they're like, hey man, it's actual time, like it's actually time to wrap up now. We can't wait any longer. So we wrapped up, and then I was like, all right, and then warmed up for like, you know, for like maybe like, I think when Aljo started fighting, that's when I started to warm up a little bit, and then Jason Knight fought, and then that was it, you know. But it was, I mean, I was really calm the whole time.
Wow, that is amazing. And are you always like that? Is that just kind of who you are? You're always just a calm, cool, and collected guy?
I usually start getting warmed up earlier than I should, and because I'm always just amped up for the fight, I'm excited. But for some reason this week or last week was just, I could feel the energy, man. It just felt like it was my week, you know. I turned the hotel lobby into a casino, you know, and then I took some pride in that. We literally, you know, like every single fighter's out kind of, I could see them, they're stressed out, they're losing weight. And I mean, I am in there, and I had all the UFC staff, you know, and I had just like maybe MMA reporters, and I had my crew and everyone I brought out some dominoes, some cards against humanity. And literally, like, the whole lobby was just, like, you know, like a regular hotel lobby. And next, you know, there's like music playing, and there's like all these kinds of tables set up, people playing dominoes, people playing cards, everyone having a good time. And I was just happy to create that environment. And literally, it helped me out, man. It just kept me cool during the whole week.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah, I saw some photos, and even a few fans tweeted me that you were kind of holding court. I think one even took a photo of you, and you spelt out T-City with the dominoes, which is amazing that you were that relaxed going into your first main event, such an important fight. Can I ask you about the finish? I mean, your submissions, they're just, you know, each one is as impressive, if not more, than the next. But the way you sort of readjusted while you were hanging on in the air was incredibly impressive. How did you do that, and how much strength is needed to do something like that?
Man, I felt like I was riding a bull, you know, like, you know, when the cowboy takes one hand off, and I was just like, man, I better hold on for dear life, because I grabbed the neck, and I felt him doing the proper defense, which was bringing his legs together and then pretty much slipping my legs out the way. Therefore, there's no guillotine, you know. So once he gets rid of the legs, then he can get rid of the hands next. So I felt the legs going, and then me trying to readjust, and I had the neck loose a little bit. So me trying to grab trying to re-grab the neck. I was also trying to redo my legs at the same time. So I was like trying to kill two birds with one stone. So I just figured if I hold on to this, I don't want to lose it. So, I risked it, and I remember I cinched it up tighter. I let go. I try to crawl up his back with my legs, and at the same time lock my hand in. So by the time my legs cross and my hands relock, it's right on the money and tight again. And that's what happened, man. We got the nice tight lock, and I felt it, and I leaned back and squeezed, and then I felt him tap, and I was like, all right, that was done good.
In the first round, it seemed like you almost got him to submit via choke. He got out of it. Were you surprised that he got out of it?
He didn't get out of it. The bell rang.
Oh, that's right. The bell rang. That's right. The bell rang. Were you surprised that he didn't tap?
I knew. Yeah, I knew I had it, and I can feel it. And it was, but sometimes when you cover there, like I'm wrapped over his head, so I was hoping that I covered his hearing. But once I seen him running away, I was like, all right, this guy's falling for time. He knows that the bell's going to save him right now. And I was like, instead of just squeezing all I have and then hoping for a last-second submission, I was like, I already know this guy is choke-prone, so let me just relax my energy. Let me just hold it. And when the bell rings, go back to the corner, shake my hands out, and then, man, if I almost had him in the first round, I could only imagine what we have to do with 20 minutes left of fighting. And, I was just like, I'm prepared to go for the full war. I know things could change, but I was just like, I'm going to submit this guy. This is what I'm going to do to him.
How much more time do you think you needed in the first round? If you didn't ease up a little bit, do you think 10 more seconds, 20 more seconds, and you would have submitted him?
I feel like 5 to 10 seconds I would have got him.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah, I just needed to grab that leg, and that was it.
Afterwards, I saw you, kind of yell out of the cage, and it seemed like you were talking to Dana White, and we've seen this scene before where someone says, hey, I want that title shot, I want that big fight, I want that bonus. And then Paul Felder asked you what you said to Dana White, and you said that you wanted to work with him on charities to help underprivileged kids. And I was just blown away by this. Here's a guy in the main event who's on the cusp of a title shot, who remains undefeated. You're not talking about title shots or bonuses. You're talking about charities and underprivileged kids. Why did you feel the need to do that in that moment?
Because that's the way I am, man. I'm very, I don't really fall too much of my own height. I guess I walked up to him and I said, listen, Dana, I go, I'm not all amped up. I'm not screaming right now like a regular guy would be. I go, I'm as calm now as I was before the fight. And I'm letting you know right now, man, I go, I feel like there's a lot of things that I can do with the UFC. I go, besides fighting, I want to do other things. I go, I really love helping kids out. I really love helping people who are down and out. And I really like to make a difference, before I leave this earth. And, I found the way that I want to do it. And he was like, listen, kid, we'll talk after right now. And I was like, all right, man, we will. And I went back. It's like we can't do it. We can't have a business or a meeting right now. You gotta finish your speech, right? I was like, all right, I got you.
You're saying this in the cage, in that moment. You're saying this to him.
Yeah, well, I never really talked to him in my life. I was like, I have him right in front of me, and the light's on me, so I might as well, talk to him while I can right now. There's a chance to talk to him. It was then.
What would you like to do? What is your dream scenario for helping underprivileged kids? Your story has been told, and it was, I thought, featured very nicely on the FS1 broadcast. I think they did a great job of telling your story, and so we don't need to necessarily rehash that. But what would you like to do now with this platform that you have?
Since before the UFC and everything, even when I was barely in the pros, I was helping kids out. I was in a bus for 2 months, and we traveled to every single state in the U.S. and visited kids in hospitals and everything with a foundation called Mauiola. And it was just me and a bunch of professional surfers, and I was the only professional fighter besides one other guy. And that's what we did, and it was for free, man. We literally just visit 2 hospitals, hop on a bus, drive, I don't know how many hours, 7, 14 hours, depends on what the next state was. And we would land in there, and we would rest, or we would rest on the bus, and then we'd get off the bus and then go right into another hospital. We did that for a long time. And I'm one of the few persons that did the whole tour, you know. And a lot of people flew out, and they're like, all right, I did a month here, I did a month and a half here, you know, I got to go back to home. I did the full tour. Even when it was time to go back home, I went all the way from New York all the way back to LA in one shot, you know, on the bus. And I mean, it was a crazy experience in my life to see all these kind of situations that I was looking at, you know, like kids who had cancer and their parents leaving them in the hospital, like, to die, you know, like heartbreaking things that just, like, you know, a lot of us who did that tour were there with me. We would walk out the room and start crying. We would get emotional. And when I started seeing life in that kind of way, you know, I was like, you know, like I kind of found like a different purpose in life and things I want to do. And then besides kids who are sick, you know, there's kids who are healthy, but they still have a hard time as well in life, like such as myself. So I just want to help as many people as I can, and you know, and pretty much just shine light in a lot of dark places where people don't think light exists.
Do you remember how old you were? Because, you know, there's a point, I think, when someone is young and they go through a lot of things, you're just kind of living and surviving. And then there's a point when you become an adult, I think, where you come to the realization that you want to help others who were in a position that you were in. Do you remember how old you were when you kind of came to the realization that, yeah, at some point I'd love to give back, I'd love to help other kids, you know, not go down the wrong path, not have troubles, not go through what I went through?
Well, to help kids out that way was different. You know, like for me, 20 years old is when I started helping like the, you know, young kids and visiting. And then the more I told my story, and people wanted to know a little bit about like my life and my past, you know, I was very hesitant to tell anyone because I still live in the neighborhood and everything, and you just never want things coming back to you and haunting you. And I just slowly started getting comfortable with telling my story, and then I was more afraid of like maybe things are gonna happen, but then it was the opposite. A lot of people were coming up to me and they're like, "Hey man, we're proud of you." You know, everyone from the neighborhood, from the hood was like, "We're proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're the only one that's made it out." Kids were telling me, "Hey man, like, you know, I'm growing up in similar environments, and just know that you're an inspiration for me, and that I started training because of you." And so a lot of positive things came out from that, you know, and I was like, man, so I was helping kids out, and now I'm like inspiring other people, and then all I could think of was if I can visit them and maybe hang out with them and, you know, and just do some kind of charity work for them, that, you know, like I can just shine a light and have them carry it through, and they can go through their own route in life and at least just come out of the negativity, you know.
I remember around a year and a half or so ago, you told us after one of your fights that you almost drowned. And you had to be hospitalized, and obviously a very scary situation for you. In retrospect, how much did that change your life and the way you approach life?
That just made me not care too much about death anymore. You know, I was like, I wasn't supposed, you know, like even when the guys asked me how you feel about this fight, I was like, I wasn't even supposed to be here. Like, I'm just happy I'm here. Like, what do you mean? I should be nervous for this fight. I should have been dead, you know? So I was like, now everything for me is just a plus. Everything's a plus. Every time, you know, I went through a lot of situations in my life where, you know, I've, you know, gambled with death and this and that. And I mean, it just makes you appreciate, you know? It makes you appreciate life. And for me, it was just like, I'm happy to be here, you know?
So you said you still live in that neighborhood that you grew up in. Are you living in a more comfortable setting, a safer setting? What's your living conditions like now?
No, I told the cameras the other day. I was trying to go training, and like my whole neighborhood was on lockdown. They had SWAT team, they had helicopters, they had everything down, you know, and it's normal, you know. all of us here think it's normal, and I know other people from the outside looking in, maybe, you know, it looks a bit scary, but, you know, I got love over here, you know. I got nothing but love over here. Everyone looks out for me over here. And I'm comfortable here, but obviously I want to do something better, but I feel like, you know, LA is crazy expensive, man. So you can't just choose to move to a nice area and expect to survive. You know, it's very, very expensive.
Are you hoping to move soon?
Get a couple more fights in and then become more successful, and absolutely.
Okay. And so you mentioned afterwards you're down with Frankie Edgar getting the next title shot, and also very impressive to say that. I don't know how many fighters would say that, and I think Frankie certainly appreciates that. What do you want next? What do you want to just wait for that fight, or would you like to fight someone else? Do you want to stay active? What's the perfect scenario for you?
The perfect scenario for me would be enjoy maybe like a good month of vacation right now, and then get back to work and wait for the winner of Frankie and Holloway, and just keep training as hard as I can, though, you know, not just relaxing, but really just every time I let the fans see and the world see who I am in fighting, I want them to be like, man, this guy is evolved like on a crazy level, you know. And that's what I want to do. Every time after every fight, I look at the tapes, I look at where I made the mistakes, and not only do I try to build myself, but I try to like times that by 2 by putting in a lot of crazy work in, a lot of hours of training. Literally, just sometimes I think about it and I go, man, I'm just wasting my life. Not wasting, but I'm just spending all my time just training. Where I see a lot of people having fun and going out and enjoying life. And I'm over here like, hey, sorry, man, I'm at the gym. I got to perfect this thing. I got to perfect these guillotines. I got to perfect these takedowns. I got to get better at kicking. I got to get better at boxing. So, you know, I'm just like, I want to be the best, you know, and I truly believe I can be one of the best. And I'm just going for it, man. So if the perfect scenario would be let these guys fight it out, I'm going to train my butt off. And by the time, you know, whoever the winner is ready to defend the belt, they put them through a camp, and I'll already be in full speed of a camp and just keep going through there and then get the fight.
Is this all a little surreal for you? I mean, you're just 26 years old. You haven't been, in the UFC for all that long, and you're talking title shot. You're on the cusp of title shot. You're main eventing shows in your home state. Did you expect all of this to happen this soon, or is this happening a little sooner?
It's happening soon. You know, I'm not gonna lie. This is happening very soon. I figured, I'm not even done fighting on the second contract of my fight. You know, so or like the second contract, I'm not even through with it. I know people who fought 3, 4 contracts with the UFC, and you know, they're barely breaking into the top 15. So I feel like I'm for sure ahead of schedule, and I mean, and I love it, you know, because if you're ahead of schedule, you're doing good. And like you said, I'm 26 years old. I feel like I'm barely starting to learn about fighting, and you know, I'm just excited for the future.
How many fights left do you have on this contract?
I have one more fight left.
Oh wow, so you're probably going to have to get a new contract if you're going to fight for the belt, right? Because they're not going to make you fight for the belt with one fight left on your deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is good. You're going to get paid, hopefully.
That's the plan, man. You know, that's the plan. That's what I want to happen. You know, obviously, you know, I love fighting, but you know, like you said, I wanna at least move out of here and not have to worry about things, you know.
Do you want to fight out your contract, or are you content with UFC? Do you want to stick around with UFC and re-sign with them before it runs out?
No, I mean, I'm happy being in the UFC. I'm very thankful and grateful for the opportunities they've given me. I've worked hard to let them know that I deserve them, and you know, I think maybe we're going to renegotiate. That's from what I heard. So we're going to renegotiate whenever they want to have the chance to do that and sit down and talk. And, you know, I don't know numbers or anything yet, but hopefully it's better than what I'm getting now.
Yeah, absolutely. You certainly deserve that. By the way, last thing, has anyone ever told you that you sound very much like Henry Gracie?
No.
You sound exactly, when I hear you speak and close my eyes, you sound exactly like him.
Man, you know, when you're around someone for 14 years,
yeah,
you're a kid, you're going to sound like them, you know? I hate, you know, it's just, you can't, they're around you all day long for 14 years, so. But some of the things are going to stick on you, especially when me and him just sit down and we you know, like we teach together and then we train together and then we hang out together and then we have my other boxing coach and we're just always surfing, training, doing all kinds of things. So it's like a lot of people tell me I sound like both of them. And I'm like, well, it's because I'm around them all the time.
Yeah, and you're rocking his new sweatshirt and that commercial that he put out, that video that he put out. You rock it very well.
Seen the Hero hoodie? Have you seen the Hero hoodie?
It is sick, man. It is dope. That Hero hoodie, it transforms.
For those of you, man, if they don't know the Hero hoodie, that thing is the craziest. I mean, I'm so proud of Henry, man. That guy. That just shows to show you the kind of brain he has. You know, this guy's sweater falls at the park while he's with his kid, and he comes out with a complete new invention on how to turn a sweater into a little backpack and the backpack into a sweater without it ever bothering. Like, just the type of brain this guy has is crazy, you know. And it's a hard thing. And I'm always competing with him, you know. So I think that's a good thing. I'm like, man, you have this, you know, like done this in life. I'm gonna try to do more. You've, you know, like you have this many followers on Instagram. I'm gonna try to catch up and have more than you. And so it's like a good. You know, it's like a good person to keep competing with. And like you said, you're like a big brother to me. So obviously we want to always outdo our big brothers.
Well, congratulations, Brian. Great stuff on Saturday, in the cage, out of the cage, what you said on the mic. I mean, it was all just phenomenal, and very happy for you. I mean, just knowing your story and what you've been through, and even the drowning episode last year, you have been through a lot, and you are an inspiration, my man. So congratulations. Enjoy the victory, and hopefully for your sake, you get to fight the winner of Frankie and Max, and certainly I think you deserve it. You've done enough, still undefeated in the UFC. It's an amazing thing. So again, congratulations, and thanks for coming on the show for the first time. Great to have you on.
Man, thank you for having me.
All right, there he is, Brian Ortega, T-City in the house. I was late to get him on, and I apologize for that. And there's so much more to that man. There's so much more to his story, and I look forward to him getting more shine, more spotlight, more publicity. What a great story. What a great role model for the kids in California, for everyone in his neighborhood. And he's a phenomenal fighter as well. Those submissions are amazing.